Hello everyone. So it's CPM day here. We're going to play with CPM on the Model 16. This is CPM plus 3.0 in Model 2 mode. So we're not going to be playing with any of the variations of CPM that were available for the 68000 processor in this Model 16. We're going to stick with traditional Z80 based CPM, CPM plus or CPM 3.0. My other CPM capable machine, the Model 4, would be a good candidate for this, but I really want to play with CPM software that's on the internet, and to be able to pull that trick off, I'm going to have to transfer stuff over with a serial port, and to do that, the accessibility of the serial ports on the 16 makes it much easier to work with than the 4. I need to build a little extension cable to come out the back of the 4, and then I can use it. But in the meantime, I want to get some of the software for CPM that I see littering the web onto this machine so I can play with it, and so we're going to do that. And normally I would use a program called Kermit to do it. Kermit is a great protocol, has a terminal and a whole bunch of other great things, and it's been around for ages, so it's very common on CPM machines. It's also still something you can find in most Linux distributions, so it's an easy way to get files to the machine. There's only one problem: there's no Kermit on there. So how do I get Kermit on there? And that's what we're going to do in this video. So we're going to get Kermit onto there, and we're going to transfer some additional files, pull a program down. And you'll see here, as I was typing, I have a blank data disk in drive B. That's where I'll be using to store all of this stuff. So if Kermit's not here, how do we get Kermit here? And the answer to that question is actually pretty simple. We're going to use pip. Pip is great. Pip allows me to transfer things over the serial port, text data mainly, so you can't really transfer binary files that way, but I'll be able to use that. So I'll be able to use that to get Kermit down, but in order to build Kermit, the version of Kermit I'm using actually comes in 2 hex files that need to be loaded together and converted into a command file together, and to do that I'm going to need a program called mload, which is also not here. So the first order of business is going to be to get mload on here. So this video is going to be broken up into a couple of parts, at least maybe 3, so you don't have to sit here and watch me go for 20 straight minutes. The first one is going to be getting mload down here and building that into a COM file, and then I will pull Kermit down and walk through some of the challenges that that can present, because I'm going to have to use pip to do that, and then we'll build the COM file with the Kermit files that I've got, and then we'll pull down a piece of software. And so it'll probably be in 3 parts. Anyway, let's get started on this. So here you can already see I've got no files on drive B, and I have no Kermit, and I have no mload. So let's get mload over there. The first thing I want to do is make sure I've got my serial port set up correctly. So on this side, I'm already set to 2400 baud, and I've done that here too. And you might be saying, why 2400 baud? The issue here is pip has no form of error correction. So I need to send the data as slowly as possible, and in the hopes of not transmitting an error. I've got a much better chance at a lower clock rate. So we're going to do that. And I've got a command window for MS-DOS up here. I'm just going to move this back over. And we have a bunch of files on this machine. And there's my mload. You might be asking yourself, what's this .hex? So let's look at that. Okay, and this is literally text hexadecimal representation of the binary file. You can see here the line length can vary, but there is a very specific format to this. And one note about these: you can't break these files up and then send them over and build them as they're broken up. If you do, it's not going to work. So you basically have to reconcatenate them on the CPM side if you do break them up. For a file the size of mload, which is only, I want to say 7K, we won't have to break it up. We're just going to send it. You can see by some of the other files in the list that preview of things to come. So let's do this. So first off, let's test and make sure we have everything correct. I noted before that there were 2 mload files there. You might be wondering why. Well, let's look at what can happen to you. So we're going to tell pip to take the console and set it to aux, which is the serial port, and we're going to run this. And it's appearing that nothing's happening, but that's pip waiting. So whatever I send over the serial port is now going to come out on the console here. So let's go over to the Linux side, and we're going to cat mload.hex, and we're going to send that over to dev, TTY-S3. Perfect. Okay. And I apparently have me a problem because this is not coming out correctly. So either I have a error in my baud rate, or I have some other problem. So we're going to do this. Okay, let's try that again. This is why you test this out. There we go. Baud rate was incorrect. Now you can see it transferring. Files coming over very nicely. So we look to be in pretty good shape. So I'm going to stop this. And I'm going to transfer, I'm going to send the other one and see what that looks like. I may have converted both of these. The issue you can run into, there we go. They both look good. The issue you can run into here is that CPM is going to want carriage return and line feed, DOS style line breaks, as we would refer to them now. If you send it Unix style line breaks, the new line will happen, but the carriage won't return. So the text just goes over and over and over. It doesn't work right. It won't actually be able to deal with it. So let's stop this. The files look good. And the way that we can end this transmission is sending it octal 32. You can hear the drive go. Now nothing was written because this was just a link to the console. So now let's do this for real. So I'm going to say pip b:/mload.hex equals aux:. Okay, and now we are going to send.text. Send mload over. Okay, now nothing's going to appear on the screen while this is going. And when I do the larger transfers in the subsequent videos to this, I'm not going to make everyone wait through the entire thing because Kermit's pretty big. But you'll see this go after all 7K goes, which is going to take a little bit at 2400 baud. We will build the mload.com file and you make use of it. So this is finishing up now, and that'll be a point where when mload works, okay, we will go to the second video. So you can see it ended here, but you didn't hear any disk activity, and this is still waiting. So I need to send it the end of file marker, so I'm going to do that. And you hear it writing. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to make sure my file came out. Okay. Mload. Text. No page. It's called .hex, you dumbass. Yeah. Okay, but you do need the brackets there. E. And that did not go right. So you saw an HX at the beginning of that. So we're going to have to resend it. So I'm going to erase that. And this is part of the joys of working with serial ports. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send this again, and then we're going to come back. Okay, so now we have the file here finished. I sent it the octal and the file code again, so now we're going to type this. I'm not going to no page it this time. Hopefully this way it's obvious that it's correct. I know just there we go. So you can see right there that first line. In the first version there was something left over in the buffer that got appended at the beginning of the file, so we had to do it again. Okay, so we have our file here, and now we're going to, if I look on the A drive, oh, that's great. It redirected to no place, so that actually didn't throw an error. That kind of surprises me. We're going to use something called GenCom hexcom to turn this hex file into a com file. B:, and this is going to be mload. There we are. And now if I dir again, you can see I now have an mload.com. Okay, this is very good. So mload, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be necessary to take the two different files that make up Kermit. There's the Kermit application itself, and there is a support file for the platform, which in my case, I just used a generic CPM plus terminal for it. I don't need anything fancy here. I just want to transfer me some files. So as a result, I'm not too worried about it, but we're going to make sure mload runs. I should get a help screen. And I do. Very good. Okay. Now we have mload. So now that mload is on there, let's get to transferring some Kermit over and playing with that, shall we? See you in the next video.